Good morning. A brief stop there. It is what? Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. I'm Teddy, and you are listening to Messy Mocha. Good morning over on X. I see you guys coming in. In the aftermath, New Orleans needs answers. Analyze this at Unwind with Teddy. Shout out to all of you who have joined me this morning over on Instagram, Facebook, and here on YouTube. All right, so we are into the second day of this, and New Orleans needs answers. Much is coming out this morning and overnight. I'm going to cover some of it briefly. You are looking on the left of my screen. I have Fox News, I have New York Post, CNN, Independent News, and perhaps some others. So let me tell you what the latest is in this attack that occurred. First of all, I didn't show you a picture. Let me show you a picture. I was trying to bring this up. Let's see, where did I put it? Okay, but I had a large picture. Let's see. These tabs are kind of small. Let's just go with this one. The Google search pictures. Okay. Images. Let's see. There we go. Here we go, I should say. That's the man. And contrast that with that's Shamsuddin Jabbar. He is the individual they are saying responsible for attacking those in the French quarters of New Orleans on January the 1st. Okay. And if you contrast that with, let's see, here it is.
Good evening. I'm Shamsuddin Jabbar, property manager with Blue Meadow Properties and team lead at the Midas Group at Core Realty. I just want to say hello and let you know a little bit about me. So I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hit. Good evening. I'm Shamsuddin Jabbar, Good evening. I'm Shamsuddin Jabbar, property manager with
The subject has been identified.
So you can see the white pickup truck there, and then it quickly makes a right turn there in front of a police vehicle. And then it just quickly plows down. After making that right, just accelerates and then goes down Bourbon Street. So again, I only want to show photographs that I think are maybe more tame. But again, this is the suspect, now deceased suspect. What do you think about what you've heard and seen so far? Do you think there is possibly a link? They are trying to find any type of connectivity, any link to what also happened in Las Vegas yesterday. Could it be a coincidence that there would be another vehicle involved, that it would be this cyber vehicle in front of a Trump hotel there in Las Vegas? Let me read some of your feedback. By the way, you can contact me right now at unwindwithteddy at gmail.com. I'm going to start here at the bottom. Uh, Jennifer Love Spewitt, good morning, says, just saw a news report that the New Orleans and Vegas men both served at the same military base. Now, how coincidental is that? I am seeing more that makes me wonder if they are coordinated attacks. When you say sir, yes, thank you, Vicky Black. Trigger warning. When you say served at the same military base outside, were they stationed together? Was this during his military service, or was this reserves, which, if you know, but it would seem that that's a connection. It would have to be confirmed whether or not, again, but it's a connection nonetheless. Doesn't mean they knew one another. It's just a connection, right? That would have to be explored. Let me go up to the top and find out how's the sound. I think it's okay. Uh, how is this on X? You say no sound. Uh, let me make sure that I'm live over on X. It should be. I'm live, and let me post or pin the story. I'm live, and all right. So um, there should be sound. Go ahead and just click on the video, the live feed, and you should be able to get sound there. All right, over on X. Fair use commentary, by the way. Working, a lot of you. I see those of you who are working. Makeup diva and curls. Comments. I don't know, Teddy. Something is not right with this. I just can't seem to get why he did it. An American? Radicalized, so uh, thinks his brother uh, Islamic, and had also, well, traveled to Afghanistan and other countries. When he became radicalized, uh, don't know. Let's see, sound. Wow. How long have you been without sound? Wait a minute. Still no sound? Hang on. Let's see. Still no sound. Am I going to have to come out and come back in? Let me throw this up. Let's try this again. Um, all right, let me know that you hear the audio sound for about 10 minutes. That was in the very beginning. Thank you. You can hear me now. Well, I apologize for that. I'm not sure what happened. I had the my mic off and or not. I don't know. Um, I'll have to just maybe be more cognizant. That's why I ask about sound. Okay, so let's see. Jennifer says the New Orleans man was having severe financial troubles and had been in a downward spiral. He had planned on unaliving his own family, but changed and did the New Orleans attack. Wow. A lot is going to come out because, again, ask yourself, how do you go from
Texas, and now live in Houston. And
this?
I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist.
You know, in the military, you can just say at least 10 years, you know, 8, and then um, reserves, service, had a family, had children, an ex-wife, good job, but we don't know, um, what happened in the last year or two, three, four. But still, what made him become radicalized, um, and pledge? That's what is being said. Make a pledge to um, this regime. I'll just say terrorist regime. Mhm. I don't know. Let's find out what CNN. Even though I started with others. Let's go for the latest updates minute by minute. 11 minutes ago, authorities investigate possible links between New Orleans attack and Las Vegas explosion. So they are looking into whether there are possible connections between the attack in New Orleans and a Tesla Cybertruck explosion that happened outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Both incidents took place just hours into the new year. When President Joe Biden addressed the nation about the Bourbon Street attack, he said he was also tracking the explosion of the Cybertruck, but warned no one should jump to conclusions. Biden said law enforcement and the intelligence community are investigating this as well, including whether any possible connection to the attack in New Orleans. Thus far, there's nothing to report on that score at this time. We're absolutely investigating any connectivity to what happened in New Orleans, as well as other attacks that have been occurring around the world. This is coming from Kevin McMahill, McMahill, the Las Vegas Metro Police Department sheriff. The sheriff said that the police were also working to determine whether the explosion outside the hotel had any link to ISIS, but we don't have any indication of that here in Las Vegas. The FBI said on Wednesday they believe the Cybertruck explosion was an isolated incident and that there were no further danger to the public. The vehicles used in both incidents were rented from Turo, the company said, a platform that lets owners rent out their cars. Authorities suspect that the driver of the Tesla had a background in military service, according to several law enforcement officials familiar with the investigation. And the suspect in Wednesday's deadly crowd attack in New Orleans previously served in the U.S. military. So, according to two U.S. officials, both served in the military. Oh, wait a minute. So, the search of the Houston location believed to be connected to the New Orleans attack suspect is over. So they've concluded, the FBI has concluded the search of the home. At this time, there is no threat to residents in that area. The statement from FBI Houston's office said, due to the ongoing nature of the investigation, we are unable to provide any further details. 7 minutes ago, so the sanitation crews have allowed onto Bourbon Street to prepare for reopening. So still haven't been open, but they are preparing to reopen Bourbon Street. It's absolutely horrific I'm looking at some of the pictures. Also, security measures will be taken to increase security in New Orleans and future, um, events. Oliver Thomas, chair of the city's Criminal Justice Committee, was walking through the French Quarter on Thursday morning.
where I learned the meaning of great service
Let me just
and what
turn that off. Manu Raju, that he's trying to figure out what the city can do differently and how they can pay for it. Thomas said, even if we're successful at preventing some of these events, the evil people are successful at making us redirect our finances that could go to help American citizens and help American programs. And we're putting it into security just so we can stay alive and be safe. That's crazy, he said, but that is helping American citizens to be safe on the streets, don't you think? I mean, even if money is diverted from cities' funds, if there are, you know, um, purposeful and intel that we're not privy to, not not just common citizens, doesn't it make sense to increase the security? I mean, this is something immediate until things seem to, get through these events. You're talking about the Sugar Bowl tonight. You have upcoming events in New Orleans. You've got Mardi Gras and the Super Bowl. Who's going to pay for it? Maybe they can ask for special funding to come from the government. Maybe, maybe some of the billions of dollars that are being spent out of Washington right now in the next, President Biden is still, I mean, he's still president. So there's been a release of a lot of money in the last, let's just say, at least month out of Washington that is going for various things. How about uh, tapping into some of that, before President Biden leaves office, before Trump takes office, president. Let's see. It just a comment, guys. Okay, New Orleans definitely failed in security measures. Jennifer says, I think they are going to have major lawsuits from victims and families. I was reading some of that too. The barriers that were supposed to be in place, and I can say allegedly, were removed. And they had up these, plastic cones or a barrier that certainly wasn't used in the past. So they have security measures already in place, but what caused them to make, and who made the decision to remove those barriers and replace them with something else? So I've read stories that went something like this. In preparation for other events, for securing, for putting more security in the streets, that these were removed. That didn't seem to make much sense to me. As a matter of fact, Let me see if I can look up uh, something on that. Hang on. The barriers. Because New Orleans is getting a lot of blame and pointing of fingers. That occurred yesterday during a press conference where the city leaders were trying to address some of that. All right, so this is coming out of ABC 7. New Orleans barriers to prevent vehicle attacks were in the process of being replaced.
Attack in New Orleans. At least 15 people are dead after a man drove around safety barriers, plowing into a crowd celebrating the new year. Thanks again for joining us here on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. I'm Giovanna Lara, in for Ellen Leyva.
I'm David Ona, and we're learning the FBI believes the man behind the wheel of that pickup truck was not acting alone.
We're also uncovering more about that suspect, a U.S. Army veteran born in Texas. This as families start to come forward to identify the innocent.
So I'm trying to find where they begin to talk about the barriers. Oh, let's pick up a little bit of that conference, just a tad.
The threat. We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We are aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates.
15 people are confirmed dead and multiple injured. Among the deceased, 37-year-old father of two from Baton Rouge, Reggie Hunter. Police say Jabbar rammed a rented pickup truck into a crowd of people just after 3 a.m., got out, fired at police before being shot and killed.
All right, so it goes on 7 years ago. Again, this is ABC 7 Eyewitness News reporting 7 years ago, New Orleans officials began installing adjustable barriers at intersection in the famed French Quarter to temporarily prevent vehicles from entering the tourist area where the narrow streets are typically teeming with pedestrian every night. But the steel columns, known as bullards, were in the process of being replaced and were not engaged early on New Year's Eve day when a motorist rammed a pickup truck through a crowd. The project to remove and replace the bollards along about 8 blocks of bustling Bourbon Street from St. Anne Street to Canal Street began November 18. City records show temporary asphalt patches were installed in the spots where the steel columns were removed, according to the documents. City officials have not confirmed whether the intersection the truck sped through was actively under construction or said if the replacement project created a vulnerability. Some of the old bollards had proved unreliable and have been non operational, the city said in a statement Wednesday afternoon. In the interim, white gate barriers have been used in these areas managed by the New Orleans Police Department to secure the street and regulate vehicle access for safety purposes. One day before New Year's Eve, New Orleans officials issued a traffic advisory about its vehicle barrier replacement project, stating that crews would work until 2 p.m. on Monday and try to minimize road closures as much as possible to reduce impacts during celebrations. The intersection of Bourbon and Canal is where the pickup swerved around a police blockade and rammed into a mass of people. So, again, replacement. This is what is being said. The replacement steel barrier that had been in place was undergoing a replacement. Okay. That's what the city, that's what is being said. Okay. And again, I think that is in light of what Jennifer mentioned, lawsuits will most likely be coming out if they haven't already started, speaking to lawyers. Who's responsible for that? Will the city be sued? Um, yeah. Okay, let me continue. Well, Louisiana is a red state, and they consistently refuse funding for children in schools, but they will probably have their hands out for this. Hmm. Barriers normally used were being repaired. You said that. Correct. So, mhm. Experts said they should have had garbage trucks and dump trucks to cover the entrances for safety, but they didn't. That could certainly have been done. And what would the expense have been? There are large garbage trucks, some steel barrier. That would have been a great idea. I wonder, had that been talked about? Certainly hadn't been used. Jennifer says, personally, I think Bourbon and some surrounding streets should always be blocked from vehicle traffic. When I used to go to New Orleans for work, I never liked how cars drive through with so many walkers. And the streets are so narrow, down in the French Quarter, always crowded because the sidewalks are, people walk in the street. You mean to tell me that it was a normal day, on a typical day, there would be people walking in the streets with the cars? I saw the crowd, they showed some film when this assailant barreled down, this terrorist barreled down the Bourbon Street, and people were jumping out of the way. And this one woman who was she just barely made it out of the way. And when she, jumped onto the curb, it appeared, to me, pretty narrow. So all of that corridor in the Bourbon, in the French Quarter district, could certainly be improved. And I agree with you. On a regular basis, just put up, certain streets are blocked off. Now, people are going to start complaining, though. I remember, during the holidays and during the summer around where I live, the downtown streets, part of the community complaining that barriers have been put up along Main Street so that some of the businesses could pull out, extend their business, the bars or the restaurants or businesses, period, to allow more foot traffic in the area without the worry of cars. So people can, put their babies in strollers and walk around. But then there are some people that said they need Main Street, to get to It's one of like a thoroughfare if you're going from, let's say, 7 Mile to 8 Mile, and then you want to go 8 Mile across to the main um, expressways. Yeah. So people were complaining, yes, to the to the local. They would go and um, speak up to the you know the boards and different um, government agencies, even the local ones, right here, and complain, yeah, to the city at night. Mhm. Uh, Jennifer says somebody's always going to complain about something, but safety should be first. I agree. I mean, you can take a detour. I mean, it's summer. People like to get out and walk around. I thought it would, as far as make make it more attractive to draw in more people who want to, walk around. It would be the same thing for the French quarters. I mean, people are already attracted to the French Quarter, but if certain areas had permanent barricades, I think that might be a good idea. But, I don't live in New Orleans, so people are going to complain. All right, so we are 52 minutes into this broadcast. Let's see if there's anything else that I should talk about before I say goodbye. Jennifer says, I like your comments. Last year at Gay Pride, we had garbage trucks and barriers blocking all of the entrances except for one entrance the day of the parade, but police were everywhere. I think, more heightened awareness. We're into the second day. And don't forget what's coming up. I failed to mention it. Monday is January 6th. The anniversary, yeah, the attack on the Capitol. Mhm. So there should be barriers, and I'm sure, I know for sure they put up more barriers around the mall area in Washington, D.C. But what about other state capitals? What do you think about that? Wherever you live, access to government buildings, courts, um, putting up barriers. Mhm. They already have checkpoints um, to go through. Anytime you enter a federal building, that's inside though. You have to go through you know, a scanner, empty, put your bags on a belt, just like, when you're going through the airport, right? But in public spaces, when you're thinking about outdoors, people are going to converge onto that area just to either remember uh, the events that took place, to make speeches and rallies. It's a point where people might gather. Yeah. And maybe some of the security is going to be pushing people further and further away. I don't know. All right. Check out Unwind with Teddy community wall for updates. Let's throw this back up. I don't think I even had it up. Yeah, check out Unwind with Teddy Community Wall. Follow me on all social media as Unwind with Teddy. You can email me at unwindwithteddy@gmail.com. A few more comments, and we are going to say have a great Thursday. Jennifer says, and Trump is doing a rally in DC on the 5th, which is making DC mad because they don't have the resources for that and the 6th. I was unaware of that. I didn't know. Bad idea. Jennifer also says we know Trump don't pay his bills for normal rallies. See Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yeah, so I heard. So he certainly isn't gonna pay for the DC rally. Great live and commentary. Good day, Teddy. Thank you, baby Juju. It's just about 10 o'clock. And with that, I am going to say biggest bear hugs go out to all the Grizzlies. Again, shout out to those of you over on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Join me sometime later tonight. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. Have a great morning.